So 330 today we're talking about the Carey Price contract move over to San Jose. Obviously a move that was needed by Montreal. I'm sure they would have liked him to play and play out the rest of his contract, but obviously it wasn't going to happen. But with Carey Price moving on to San Jose, I think this opens up a new realm of possibilities for the Canadians now too. The good thing is that they have a lot of guys on their payroll who can make an impact, and they have guys who are on reasonable contracts for where the cap is heading, where the cap is going. I can't really think of a bad contract that Montreal has now. I mean, you could argue Brendan Gallagher, Josh Anderson, but I think with the way the cap is going, guys like that are going to get paid that amount of money. So I think that's to be expected. I think like guys like Kirby Doc and Alex Newhook, those contracts are expected. Jake Evans, that contract is expected nowadays. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in the future with Lane Hutson's contract. I think that's obviously the most important question heading into the final year of his deal, what he could be, how he could pan out, that type of thing. We could very well see him get upwards of 9 million, maybe even 10. And a little, it's a little dependent on how he does this year and how things play out. But I think with the rise of Lane Hudson, we're only going to see him improve and get better over the course of time. He's turned into a legit star defenseman in the league and a very exciting defenseman to watch in the league. So it's good that now the Canadians, they don't have to worry about any really major charges outside of Carey Price's contract. And I think that's a really good thing for them to have. It eliminates a lot of stress and adds more clarity to their decision-making process because now all the guys on their payroll are pretty much on the roster. So I think that makes it a little bit easier, a little bit more flexible. And I just think we're going to see a lot of improvement out of this Canadians team, this young core who is just looking to make that next push after advancing to the first round this year. And I think there's going to be a lot more sustained impact that we're going to see out of them. So it'll be interesting to see. Very curious to follow this whole situation. And they have around $5 million with the cap space now, too. So in moving Carey Price, they went from 5 million over to the cap to 5 million and right around 5 million in cap room. So they add that, which is pretty massive. And that's going to be very helpful to them. And I just genuinely think in terms of contract situation, you could argue that the Habs have one of the best contract situations in terms of the core. You have Nick Suzuki under 8 million. You have Cole Caulfield under 8 million. You have Slavkovsky who could turn out to be a steal and he's under 8 million. You have Patrick Laine heading into the final year of his contract and who knows, he might get the same amount of money, he might get less money than his old contract that he had. I don't know. But I just think with the Habs, they have a lot of reasonable contracts. Like Caden Gooley's a reasonable deal. 5.5 million per year. That's pretty reasonable for where the cap is going and where these type of defensemen are going in terms of the style of play and how they could pan out long term as young D and taking that into their UFA years a little bit later on towards their 29, around 30-ish. And Noah Dobson, $9.5 million a year. That's to be expected with the way those contracts are going with some of the star defensemen who are playing top 2 minutes. That was a contract that was very reasonable for him. I think there's a lot more guys within this core that are going to continue to grow, evolve, get better. And it's not just guys like Lane Hudson and Noah Dobson and all the young core that we see up front with Caulfield and Suzuki and Slavkowski and Demidov and those guys. I just think we're going to see the Habs continue to grow too. And they have, again, a lot of guys on reasonable contracts, a lot of guys who are on affordable contracts, and guys who are locked up longer term as well. So I think that's really important in terms of their decision making. They don't have to worry about too many key guys and signing too many key guys outside of the Hudson and eventually Demidov and stuff like that. But I just think there's a lot of promise, a lot of room for growth within this core. There's a young core, but a core that has a lot of talent, a lot of speed, and it's going to be very exciting to watch for a very long time. Granted that they take that next step. They had to move Carey Price. This was a situation where it was a must more than anything else. and they had to move on from him because they needed that cap room, and they were able to find a way to do it. Luckily, San Jose was a team that was looking to get to the salary cap floor, and usually if teams aren't compliant with the salary cap floor by I don't know what time and what the exact date is, but if they're not cap compliant within a certain period of time before the season starts, then it's gonna cause some sort of penalties. So yeah, obviously needed this move. San Jose needed this move, and they have, I believe, $9 million worth of cap space now. So they'll be fine. And it's only one more year of Carey Price in his contract. So they'll be fine being able to manage that and being able to have that boiled down. So I think with Montreal, this is just a really good move for them. They needed to do it, and they just had to find a way to get rid of that contract. And I know Carey Price is a legend and whatnot, but they had to make a decision that was more important to the team, and he's not even playing now. So they had to make sure that they made that decision and they were able to execute on it. So they did a really good job there, and they didn't have to give up too much in order to give away his contract, which is also really good because who knows, it could have costed them way more money, could have costed them a first round pick maybe, but they didn't have to worry too much about that, which is really good. And now they can just get more clarity on what they want to do and how they want to build for the future. So it's gonna be really interesting to watch, really interesting to follow. And like I said before, I'm really excited to see what the Canadians are able to do with their teams long term as well.